Got the quantum flux out again. This time I put the right screws on the centre diff. There's 4 spur gear cover screws on the centre diff, but it's button screws. The screws are button screws, man, so see if it holds up. It's basically the A scale screws you get on the diffs, like the armour diffs and whatnot. So, but they're button head screws, you know what I mean? And it's rubbing, well, it's running freely, but see if it will come undone while we're running it. So, like the wood screws, I got rid of the wood screws and shit, so. 4S. Yeah.
You've got petrol?
Nah. I used to have nitro, a couple of nitros and that, you know what I mean? But the nitros are fiddly, man. You know what I mean? I'm just basically out testing this one, man. Yeah, I got a couple. Yeah. I think the mesh is a bit tight on this, man. Mesh sounds tight on this. Yeah, well, this one was bought, but I ripped out the stock electronics, put my own electronics in it. You can only run up to 3S on it. But so what did you do, like? I basically put a 22 volt system in it, so you can run up to up to 6S in it, you know what I mean? 6S, which is 22.4 volts or whatever it is. But I think the mesh on this is tight, man. The mesh seems tight on this, man. I'm basically running 14 volt at the moment, a 4S battery in it. You know what I mean? I don't know if the mesh the noise. Yeah. It's binding, man. It's binding, innit? It's binding somewhere.
How long is the distance?
It's pretty far. The distance is alright, man. Yeah, it's binding, man. It's binding. I don't really want to run it and, well, strip out the spur gear, innit? It's binding somewhere. But the thing is, the centre diff, it's got 4 cover screws. You can see the screws. Yeah. But what happened, I mashed up the centre diff, innit? I blew out the centre diff a while back, and basically the cover screws disintegrated, basically, you know what I mean? So what I did, I put wood screws. I used wood screws and that, you know? DIY, do it yourself, innit? I used wood screws and that, but the wood screws didn't work. It kept unwinding when you run it, innit? So I've got the right screws on it, but it's button head screws, innit? And it's slightly rubbing. It's rubbing on the motor mount. It's like, I think that's why it's binding, innit? It's slightly touching, innit? So I need to get the flathead screws and shit, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's all tests, man. Instead of going out and buying, you know what I mean? Because the stock shit don't work. I've got A-scale diff cups. I've got A-scale diff cups in it. I've got A-scale diff cups. The battery. How fast? I got this on 46 miles an hour on tarmac, man, the other day. But I was using wood screws on a disc, innit? And the screws backed out and everything seized up and shit, man. You know what I mean? So, yeah, 46 miles an hour on 4S. But it's binding somewhere, man. Something's going on. Fuck it. I'm just gonna run it, man. Drain down the battery, man. You know what I mean? Put these body pins back on and run it till it dies, man. Sod it. Yeah. Yeah, it's binding somewhere, man. That noise.
See what goes on through the week, guys.
Where's the other body pins? Shit. body pin. Yeah, it's binding. So could be the diff cups backing out. Run it till it dies, man. The thing is, I don't want to strip out the spur gear and shit and stuff. Although I got another set of spur gear. Oh, this is a 49.2 spur gear. I put the 49.2 spur gear back in because the wood screws now, because they're bigger, slightly bigger wood screws, the top of the spur gear, the four holes basically expanded, isn't it? You know what I mean? The spur gear is all right. It's not stripped on, I think, but because I use the wood screws, and they were slightly bigger screws than the stock diff spur gear cover screws, so the holes are slightly opened up. But I'll shoe glue the fucking thing, man. Shoe glue it and use it. Shoe glue it, leave it there for a few days or whatever. That's why I don't want to strip out this spur gear. I've lost a misplaced a body pin somewhere. I'm bringing the body pins out with me. No, shit. I'm missing the body pin. Woo. Run it till it dies, man. It could be the rear diff cup. It could be the rear diff cup that's coming unwound. It's probably the rear diff cup, man. It's not come undone for a while. Which I said I put 8 scale diff cups, rear and front. Yeah, not much power now, man. It's dead. It's dead. It's not the spur gear. The mesh on the spur gear and pinion's alright. Probably the diff cup on the rear, man. Something's binding. Something's binding. Found the body clip. Looks like the whole centre diff is leaking, man. It could be the button screws, man. It could be the button screws. As I said, I need flathead screws. So I'm gonna have to undo this centre diff again because the centre diff oil is leaking. Yeah. It could be the button screws rubbing against the motor mount. And it seems to be leaking because the centre diff is all leaked. It's all greasy, like the oil's come out of it. Ah. Oh well, gonna have to find some flathead screws.